Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah. She's like giving me this look like, what? What did I do? Nothing. Just laying on mommy's lap and tummy. I know. Makes it very, very difficult trying to do anything, but that's okay. Fortunately, I've already gone to the bathroom. I know. TMI, TMI. That's okay. I know. She's just such a stinker little girl. Yes, she is. She's my stinker little girl. Actually, here, let me fix this. There we go. That's a little bit better. Yeah, actually, last night or one point yesterday, I don't remember. Well, here lately, ever since that, everything's come up with that court case, I've been thinking about, our last days there and everything, out there. It was just, yeah, really nutty. And actually, Grandma, when I was talking to her, she's not my grandma, she's just this, she's older, and everybody calls her Grandma because of it, she's a good friend. We became fast friends there at the end, but anyway, she, and her and I were talking about that too, with that last week, with everything that happened. It's like, wow. Just nuts. And even after, she was telling me about some things that had happened, and it was just like, yeah, it's time for her to get out, and hopefully maybe she also might be able to take her sister and her kids with, because she's not in a very good situation either. They're a good family, and you know what? We all make stupid decisions. We think it's a good decision or whatever, and it is what it is. So, I don't know. I have to see what happens. But, wish her well. That's all I can do is wish her well. But now I've been thinking a lot about, the last days that were there and everything. The fact that I had given her, the decision, talking about little miss here, because she was kind of acting like she might want to stay. And I told her, look, we're going to be taking a big trip. We're going to have to go on one of those things that go overhead all the time, talking about the airplanes, because we were in the flight path sometimes. And it's just like, yeah, we're going to have to go on one of those, and we're going to go far, far away and everything, and I was telling her about it all and everything. And, basically just like how we are now in bed, just having one of those chats and everything. And I'm like, if you want to, you can stay here. It's up to you. I'll do the best I can, try and maybe find you someplace, and everything. Either that, or if you want to, you can go and you can stay living outside, or even though that wasn't, I was like, but I'm just like, it's up to you, and it's your decision. And, she took one look at me, and chum. And she was just like, no, Mommy, I'll go with you. Yeah, I was like, yeah. But then, of course, very last minute, after I put her harness on, trying to get her to put her in her carrier, she's trying to change her mind, and she's deciding, no, I want to stay here and stay living in the, what's that called? The baseboard of, the bed. There was a hole up underneath there. Excuse me. She let it crawl up in there, and I was like, nope, not happening. So I got actually Grandma's sister to come down and help me, and we were able to get her out. So more like she held the bed, the thing up, and I was able to, and she kind of slid down or whatever, and then I was able to reach in and grab her. It's like, we made it, and she did so well. I'm so proud of her still. If anything, it toughened her up a little bit, and she has become little Miss Sassy Butt. She is. And she doesn't mind expressing her sassiness, which is good. She needs to be a sassy butt. After all, her mommy's a sassy butt. But no, I'll admit, I've been thinking about, what might possibly have happened to her. Oh, I know what would have happened. Nobody has to tell me. Yeah, but it was her decision. Isn't that right? Yeah, there she is. And she's been very, very happy because she has all sorts of new birdies to look at. Yeah, all sorts of new birdies. Yeah. Yeah. All kinds of new birdies. Yeah. And she has enjoyed watching all the new birdies. Don't let her fool you. She sure has. She's such a silly girl. But speaking of birdies, I got the bird book yesterday. It's about this thick. I took one look at it and I'm like, yeah, I'd say that this is a combination of both of the regions, the eastern and western regions. I was looking at it and everything, especially, like my areas of interest, and it's definitely both regions. From what I could tell, there's not one that's missing. So it's like, yay. It's a great resource. Highly recommend it. That's Stokes Field Guide for Birds. To birds or whatever. North America, basically. They have one, but the book that I got is for all of North America. A little bit into basically northern Mexico. Also, of course, Canada. Oh, excuse me. And then also they have one that is for strictly Western region if you're interested in just the, like the West Coast or something like that. Anything west of the Mississippi. And then they have one that's for Eastern region if you're strictly interested in the eastern side. But I'm kind of a little bit of both. So that's why I got both. Yeah. And I want to travel. So that will definitely come in handy. That is one book I will not be getting rid of. I have had to get rid of my Eastern region one at one point, and then I had to get rid of my Western region before I left. Both times killed me. Yeah, really killed me. But this one I'm not going to be getting rid of anytime soon. So, and it does come with a CD with bird songs, so you can identify through their songs. So I did find out that with looking at the woodpeckers, what I've been thinking I've been seeing with the northern flickers may not necessarily be the northern flickers. I'm going to have to do a little bit more reading. They may be, and hopefully maybe I can find maybe their calls up online. They might be, I think they're called a red-breasted woodpecker. So it might be them that I've been seeing. Or maybe combination. It may be both that I'm seeing. Because both of them are around here. Northern flickers are much, much more common. But it's possible that it might be the other one that I've been seeing. Definitely not going for my walk again today. It is still raining, and it's my understanding it's supposed to last all the way through next week. So yeah, Rick's not too happy because of his garden. He's concerned about root rot. So yeah, it's like uh-oh. So I'm like, well, you'll have to do container gardening. Basically getting actual pots, not necessarily building. An above ground garden, but you can grow in pots. And he's just like, nah, it's too much work. Whatever. And stop complaining that you're not getting food in and everything. But yesterday I decided, nope, I'm not going to go to work. I'm going to do my food prepping. I am so glad I did it. Oh, I had been dying for that pot of soup all week. I'd been craving it. And I'm like, that's it. I'm going to make that pot of soup. So glad that I did. Oh, that was so good. So much so I got real sleepy and I had to lay down. I was trying my best to clean up the kitchen, and I'm doing it, and Rick's just sitting there at the table, and he's just like, I looked down at one point, and he's like, yeah, just finish up, you know. And I had to dry dishes at the same time too, because the dish strainer is small, and he's just like, no, just put them there on the stove, and I'll put them away. Like you're dragging, and nope, nope, I did it all. I'm like, I clean up my own messes, thank you. So, well, not only did I clean up my messes, I also cleaned up theirs. I mean, I don't see the point, in leaving their dishes. I mean, I'm already in the process of doing it and have the dishwater do it. I realize they use the dishwasher, and I prefer to hand wash. I can't stand dishwashing. So, ugh, that dishwasher soap detergent stuff. Ugh, that stuff is nasty. Ugh. And it gets on the food, and it makes your food taste nasty and everything. Ugh, yuck. And I've been using, as far as dishwashing soap is concerned, I've been using Echoes for years. Every once in a while, I have to switch over to 7th generation. If they don't have Echoes, I prefer using one or the other because it's more natural. You don't have all those nasty smells, and you're not getting it on your dishes, and it winds up in your food, and your food tastes like perfume, or, ugh, disgusting. I want to drink a bottle of perfume, I'll drink a bottle of perfume. That's the way I look at it. Yuck. Or if I want to eat dishwasher pods, I'll eat a dishwasher pod. Ugh, gross. Those things are just disgusting, people. I realize. I mean, it's like on the one hand, everybody complains I'm overweight, but yet at the same point, you don't want to put in the work. Ugh. Get off your duffs and hand wash and dry your dishes. It takes less water, and you're getting some exercise at the same time. Okay, people? There, I said it. That's just the way I look at it. But I don't know. Me personally, I'd much rather. I've always been a hand washer. I don't like dishwashers. Can't stand them. Even before I came down sick, I've just never been able to stand them. Don't get me wrong. I have used them on occasion, but well. I don't like them. They don't clean as well. And you got spots and this, and the spots just makes it look like it's not clean. That's the thing, It's like, ew. And you get some crusties, or you get food that's been left on, and it's dried on, and it's just like, no, yuck, gross. It's like, fill up I prefer a double sink where you have, the one side where you can wash, the other side you can rinse, But sometimes wind up in situations where you have a single sink. Well, you just fill it up a little bit with water, with some hot water, and then run the water from the faucet to rinse. Then put it in the dish strainer and good to go. Afterwards, dry them with a hand towel, put them away. Bam, you're done. It actually takes less time to do that also. It takes, an hour to run a damn dishwasher? Ugh. I can be done in 30 minutes or less. That's wash, dry, and put away. Yeah, and I prepped 2 meals yesterday. I did. It probably took me about 45 minutes total with everything, and that was even having to wash a dish that I needed to transfer the soup into. Yeah, I was including that even to put it away because unfortunately the pot wouldn't fit in the fridge. Now, right? Yeah. But yeah, I had the soup, and also did a side of white jasmine rice, organic, of course. And I like to, when you're bringing the water to a boil or heating the water up, I know, I'm sorry. There you go. There you go. Good. Okay. But anyway, yeah, she was getting a little upset because I stopped rocking her foot. Yeah, right. I know. I got icky in my eye. But anyway, when I'm heating up the water, I like to put in 2 tablespoons of butter, and it just makes it a little bit more flavorful. Yeah. So, and then dump your rice in. I do 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of butter, 1 cup of rice, and I am on the side of washing the rice ahead of time. I'm one of those. So I know that's the big debate out there with all of us rice eaters. To wash or not to wash? I wash. Yeah. Helps get anything else off of it or whatever. So that's just me. And once the water comes to a little bit of a boil, or basically when the butter is melted, throw the rice in. 20 minutes later, it's done. Stir it occasionally, just so it doesn't stick. So that sometimes it can stick depending on the stove, the pan, or what have you that you're using. So just stir it every once in a while and good to go. Doing it for years. Yeah. But the soup that I made is actually a recipe that is in the metabolic renewal part of that program that I've been talking about. And it, of course, I started off with that recipe. Of course, I've made a lot of changes to it over the years to make it a little bit more flavorful for me. But the base recipe is still there. Now I'm starting to, well, at one point I started adding cilantro. The original recipe does not call for cilantro, but I started adding that to the meatballs, and also at the same time when they tell you to add in the onion and garlic. So I go ahead and add it in at that time, get that cooking a little bit. And then I add in the diced tomatoes and oregano. But what I decided to do this time, because I still feel like the meatballs are a bit bland. And unfortunately, I couldn't get any basil, even non-organic. I couldn't get any, I'm talking about fresh basil. I couldn't get it anywhere that I had been shopping anyway. And I was just like, all right. So what I did this time is figure I would try making the meatballs a little bit different, and they turned out really good. So I did the hamburger, the 2 tablespoons of flax, the ground flax, egg, and then I added a little bit of salt, and I used pink Himalayan sea salt, cracked peppercorn, garlic powder, onion powder, dried basil, and dried oregano. Okay, and I think I mentioned the mushrooms. You take those and you can either shred them, like with a garlic shredder, or you can chop them up really fine. Okay. Take all that, throw it together, mash it up together. Just use your hands, get them in there, get them dirty, take it, mix it all up together, and then I've formed them into little balls. Sometimes I might do a little bit bigger ones, but this one time I decided to do little balls. And heat up some olive oil in a stock pan, and throw the balls in there, cook them down. I cook them for longer than what the cookbook says because I like them brown, okay? And I do medium heat. Usually takes me about 30 minutes to cook them up. Then when they're pretty much just about ready, that's when I throw in the onion, chopped up onion, garlic, and cilantro. Okay, throw that in, cook that for a few minutes. Then when I throw in a can of diced tomatoes, and this time I wasn't paying attention to the labels, and I grabbed fire roasted, so that made a difference also. So I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. So if you want to maybe do some flavored ones or something, have at it. That's the way I look at it. It's your soup. You know, you don't have to follow a recipe exactly. That's the way I look at it. Carbs come out to be the same because basically your herbs really don't have any. You know, herbs are vegetables. You know, as far as calorie wise. So yeah, except for of course potatoes. You know, anything, any sort of starchy potatoes. I'm talking about, greens, okay? They fall in those categories. So anyway, this time though, I decided, the recipe just says when you throw in the diced tomatoes, throw in some oregano, but I decided to throw in all those seasonings as well, with the exception of the garlic powder and onion powder. But I threw in a little bit extra salt, cracked peppercorn, basil, and oregano. Cook that up for a few minutes, and then threw in the chicken stock. I use chicken stock. I know the recipe calls for chicken stock or vegetable stock, but I always use the chicken stock. Throw that in, and then throw in broccoli and cauliflower, and I just bought the bags of them. Usually I'll buy, the bunches or a bunch of broccoli, cut it up and wash it, and then I'll buy a head of cauliflower and break that apart and wash it and throw all that in. But I know that the stock pot that I'm using now isn't as big as what my stock pot was, so it's what I used to use. So I just bought the pre-done bags, and it worked out good. And threw that in, and then let that cook for, I don't know, about maybe 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, depending on how much you like to have your broccoli and cauliflower cooked. I like mine cooked a little bit more, so I throw that. But basically, lastly, and I've had it both ways, with and without, but lastly, you take a lemon, whole lemon, squeeze that, and squeeze the juice out of it, and throw that in. And like I said, I've had it both ways. I prefer it with the lemon, personally. And this lemon that I got, that I use, oh, that was good. That was a good lemon. Really good lemon. Really, really flavorful, and it was very aromatic. That's the word I'm trying to think of. So, but yeah, that was really, really good. And with everything combined, it was like between that and the rice. And then I had mixed berries for on the side, and I had a little bit of banana nut bread left. Had that, and I died. Oh man, did I die? That felt so good. And for about an hour, and then I got up. I had to wait an hour before I could take my Lantus, and then I went back to bed. After that, and died until. Oh, that's right. How can I forget? I woke up. It was my glucometer that woke me up this morning at 3:33. Angel sign. Yeah, most definitely. I was like, okay, yeah, message received. And I was having this dream. Just will not be left alone. But anyway. No matter how much I try. But anyway. But no, it was it was very appropriate because I got a hold of my friend who has all my sewing stuff still back in Vegas, and we started coordinating on maybe getting that shipped out. That and my cards and my yoga mat are still all out there. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, we need to, let's start getting this stuff out here. And she's like, all right. I'm like, hey, well, first I asked her, I'm like, hey, what do you want to send next? And I was just like, well, and then I didn't hear from her. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just start with the sewing and whatever we could fit with the cards. And she's like, well, let me see what I could fit in one of those boxes, because she's doing the flat rate. I'm like, what are those boxes called? She's doing the flat rate boxes, and she gets a little bit of a discount with her shipping company too. So it's like, yeah, let's see what we could fit in one of those boxes, and we'll go from there. So it's like, okay. But I'm really excited about getting my sewing, because I'd like to. I'm in hopes. I'm gonna see if. Oh, sorry, I got an itch. Oh, there. Excuse me, sorry. I know I just woke up. But anyway. I know. Trying to wake up here a minute. I've got some Aunt Martha's iron-on transfers. It's anybody who's done any sort of sewing knows exactly what I'm talking about, especially embroidery work. They're basically these iron-on transfers of these like different pictures, where you can, not like what you would see like on a t-shirt or something. They're basically line art, okay? And for the most part, with some of them can be a bit detail oriented. But anyway, you can use them to transfer onto like hand towels. You know, I'm talking about, you know, like kitchen towels. You know, like tea towels. Okay, you could transfer them onto plain pillowcases. You know, any sort of like a plain material or what have you, or fabric. Excuse me, I'm still used to the same materials. That's what my mom always said. And you can do your own embroidery work, you know, pick out your own colors, your own stitching, you know, however many threads that you want to use, so on and so forth. And I've got a couple of packs that my mom had bought me, that she had found. She had bought them for me for Christmas while we still lived in Virginia even. I've never gotten around to doing anything with them. And especially with the quilt show coming up, and there's also a couple of craft stores out there that Angie wants to see about stopping in, and then of course there's the big fabric store here and so forth, and I want looking to get my own place and everything. I want to see about sewing up a quilt. So, but yeah, and I've always wanted to do a quilt incorporating some of those patterns. There's a couple of them I have, or a couple packs that I have. One is teacups. Miss Tea Drinker here. Yeah, my mom bought them because I've been a big time tea drinker for years, and I know she was a big time coffee drinker, and I prefer tea. And there's also one of teapots. So I'd love to do up a quilt with something to do with those. And then there's also another packet that she had found that are Dutch girls. And with us being, or me being, us being, well, she was born and raised Chicago. I was born and raised in Holland, Michigan, which is where my father and his family, for the most part, are from. And of course that's was an area that was settled by the Dutch back in the 1850s and so forth. So when my mom found those, she was like, yeah. And she's always been into Dutch culture, always loved tulips and so forth, and tulips and hyacinths and the Dutch wear and so forth. So yeah, she had found those for me as well. So yeah, but I've been wanting to use those, and you can either transfer them on right directly from the paper onto the fabric, or you can trace them. So either way, if you have, if you can, you can do it. There's different ways that you can do it. You can either, put the fabric over and try and see through and trace, or another way that you can do it. One way that people used to do it to back before those, if they find like a picture or something that they liked, what they used to do is use newspaper and take the picture, put it on top of newspaper, because all the newspaper, it comes off on your fingers and so forth. So you just take and put it on top of your fabric, and with a pencil, just trace over, and then it transfers over onto the fabric. You can also get at like craft stores or art supply stores, any place that sells art supplies, you can get graphite paper, and you can use that to transfer over as well. So either way. But they also do sell transfer. You just have to be a little bit careful, because of course it could, wash off or a lot easier or whatever. But one way that you can do it, you can do that, but then you can do buy these transfer pencils, and afterwards you can go through and trace also. So that way you have something that's a little bit more permanent, that's not going to smudge, especially when you start working with the hoop and everything. Yeah, it can wind up smudging off. So, but, yeah, my brain was kind of, when I was trying to fall back to sleep last night, my brain was kind of going 50 miles a minute, coming up with possible ideas or what have you. But I need to get to these stores and see what sort of fabrics that are available and everything. I know that there's fabrics I had seen at Hobby Lobby I would have loved to have gotten when we were there, but I'm sure by now they're probably gone, but that's okay. I know now everybody's going to be kind of switching over to fall, Halloween, so and of course Christmas, because it takes time for to get these projects done and everything. So women start looking at these things about this time. That's why when we had Joanne, they would you go into Joann's or heck even Michael's now, you'll see Halloween and Christmas items this time of year. The reason why is because it takes time to do these. Even as a graphic designer, a lot of the designs that you'd be working on, it would be Easter and you're working on Halloween designs, because for one thing, it takes time to do the designs, and then going through the proofing process, with the client, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, you have to make sure it's to the printer on time, so they have opportunities to be able to go through their proofing process, have time to be able to have any changes done and so forth, and be able to print and so forth too. So, but yeah. That's the reason. I did find out from Angie, because she follows a lot of those threads and so forth, those accounts, that those news feeds and everything. She did tell me that Michael's bought up a lot of Joann's copyrights and so forth. So they'll be getting in a lot of Joann's stuff. So that's good. Oh, excuse me. And that came up because I told her, I'm looking for an embroidery project, or I'm going to be, especially with finishing up with the sewing. I still haven't finished that last little bit. I've been a little bit busy, but that's okay. But yeah, I'm looking at my next project, and I just need to, what I've wanted to do is to do a different quilt for different times of the year, like have a Christmas quilt, have a Easter quilt, something springy, something summery, something for fall, one for Halloween, I've always wanted to do that. So, yeah. Sounds like fun. And I've got time to be able to do that now. But I do have to get back to work today, most definitely, because I've got the rent for the car coming up, and I will admit I still have to pay back Uber money that I had borrowed from them before I had stopped working out there. It was basically an advance. So I have to pay that back first before I can get anything together for rent for the car. So, anywho, I will be going back to work today, and yeah, things are getting exciting. I know, I love it. So, but anywho, yeah. So anyway, like I was saying, with waking up at 3:33. Basically, 3:33 angel sign is all about creative self-expression. There you go. And then being woken up by my glucometer at that time with the low sugar. It's like, yeah. So, beautiful sugar this morning, no problems or anything. So, but anywho, yeah. Y'all want to see her one last time? Being the diva. Cleaning herself. And I got my her bag of food and my body wash too. It's like, yay. And I think I'm coming up on my period. I've been PMSing a little bit. I'm like, so much fun. So, but anywho. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Have a great weekend. We are one thing is for certain, temperatures have dropped. They said that it was supposed to have gotten up into the 60s yesterday, but I never saw it on my weather app. It stayed in the 50s every time I looked at it. Maybe hit low 60s, like maybe 61, 62 or something. But yeah, it's definitely been chilly out there. It definitely hasn't felt like it. We are supposed to be climbing back up into the 70s, possibly hitting 82, I think I had heard, early part of next week, or I had seen anyway, so not too sure. But yeah, it's definitely chilly out there, so I'll be wearing a jacket. I did try and look at raincoats up on Amazon. I just don't feel right buying clothes for the most part through apps like that. I gotta see it. That's just me. I gotta see it, try it on, and so forth. So I'll have to maybe hit places like Macy's or something and see if I can find some sort of raincoat. I know what I'm looking for, so that's what matters most. So we'll see. But anywho, all right. Yep. That's all I got for you for right now. I hope you all are doing well and having fun. Okay? Love you guys. Love you. Talk to y'all later. Love you.